he didn't want to offend anybody with that statement. But he did say that his new promotion, Eagle Fighting Championships, which is going to be on UFC Fight Pass, will not be having any ring girls because he just doesn't see the point in them. He said, if you're coming there for the ring girls, don't show up that day. If you're coming there to see the best athletes on the planet, that's why you come to Eagle Fighting Championship.
Okay. All right. Listen, fair play. But I will say that I got two things to say on that. Nobody goes for the ring girls. Nobody goes for the ring girls. Hold on a minute. So it's Conor McGregor. Two things to say on versus that. Dustin Poirier 4. But who's the ring girls? Is it what are we talking with here? Is it Ariane? Is it Brittany? Oh, Brittany! I'm fucking going to that one. That's not how it works. And when he says the most useless people in martial arts, correct. They are, but they're not getting in the cage and fighting. They're a little bit of extra for the show. And I like it because it's historic in boxing and now with MMA, of course. You have a ring card and it adds to the crowd and it adds to the pomp and circumstance of it all. And it's a little bit of fun. So, Khabib, I love you.
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's not like I do understand, there's this sort of a sexist undertone. I do get it. And if there was some feministy, blue-haired chick with glasses and, she was sitting there like this, I would go, all right, I understand. But Khabib, calm down. You're a fighter. Relax, okay? We like looking at the chicks. They're hot. They're great, okay? And let us just get a little eye candy in between the fights. The ladies, the whole night, they get eye candy. It's fucking 18 fighters in their underwear that are humping each other. They got abs popping, veins popping everywhere. The ladies get a little bit of a visual, right? Now, we'd like to get a little bit of visual.
Well, so do the men, though, as well. If that's what you're saying, if you're saying that the women are objectifying the men, shame on you, Lewis. My God, any woman that is in attendance is attending for the skill and the courage and the bravery on display of these men and women. And the men get the same thing. But if you're going to play that game, then you could say what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Both are almost naked in there and they're both throwing fights. Listen, Khabib, God bless him. He's a man of honor and he doesn't play that game. That's not how he rolls, so to speak. And I get it. And as I say, I'm a huge fan of Khabib, so I'm not talking shit. But come on, man, let the girls have a job. They make a lot of money. I don't, with sponsorships and endorsements and things. They're famous in their own right.
Back in the day, it was better when there was fewer ring girls though, because you knew now there's almost too many. I don't even know who the new girls are, but Ariane and Brittany, and there was a few chicks that were just great. They almost had they became celebrities in their own right in the world of the UFC. Oh, no. And I almost feel like that doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah, well, Ariane and Brittany, they've got a tremendous following. And as I say, they make a lot of money from endorsements. But I was going to say about OnlyFans. Apparently, and I'm not naming any names or saying any numbers, but I will say, I think some of them are making $30,000, $40,000 a month on their fucking OnlyFans.
My ex-girlfriend makes $40,000 a month on her OnlyFans.
Yeah, that's crazy. But aren't OnlyFans, going off on a tangent again here, they're eradicating all the sexually explicit content, aren't they?
So they were getting pressure from certain banking institutes because with porn, it's a whole other world, right? So these porn sites, they have to bank certain ways with certain countries. So because chicks were, filming porn and essentially making money through OnlyFans were having issues with certain banks. So they came out and released a press release saying that they were no longer allowing sexually explicit material. So girls could still be naked, but they couldn't be having sex. They couldn't be spread eagle or
were they having sex?
Oh yeah.
No. What actually having sex?
Yes, porn stars, chicks who were famous from porn a few years ago, they started OnlyFans now and they just fuck on OnlyFans and you pay for their private videos. So you pay $10 a month or $5 a month or whatever for access to their pictures, but then they sell you their personalized video. So I have a new hot video that came out, $20, and then 100 guys buy that video that day, right?
So all these women that were just doing because there's a lot of people apparently into foot fetishes and stuff like that. You can still go on there and sell pictures of your feet, or you can still be suggestive, shall we say, on there. Oh, okay.
Felice Herrig, I joined her OnlyFans, and she has just feet pics. It's her in her underwear at her feet. It's great. It's excellent. I'm not even into feet. It's great. Felice Herrig's...
No, that's not great. I'm not hating on her entrepreneurial spirit. God bless her. Good for her.
She should learn how to win a fight then. I don't know. What do you want me to say?
But, hey. Or you should learn what to spend your money on. Don't you ever come to me and complain about cash to me ever again. Not that
if I ever complained about cash,
no. I'm saying, but if you ever do, I'm going to say, you're fucking spending money on Felice Herrig's OnlyFans. OnlyFans to look at her in her feet.
It's great. But
yeah.
they also, just so you know, OnlyFans, the follow-up to that is after like crazy pressure from all of their like users and their people that were on the service, they changed their mind. So whatever it is, I guess they're gonna have some workarounds, but girls can still bang.
Jackson is on OnlyFans, which I never thought I'd hear myself saying, but apparently so. I thought it was just sexual stuff on there, but Rampage is on there.
I have an OnlyFans.
Oh, you do?
I don't. They paid me. When they were trying to make this transition to be legitimized and not just porn chicks, they wanted to get comedians, musicians, whoever to put extra content. So they just paid the Legion of Skanks and a few other people X amount of dollars per month just to post content, and it never materialized anything beyond that. So I didn't.
Be honest, Lewis. You've got pictures of your feet all over the place. Yeah, no. Rampage was just his fat loss journey. I think I saw it a while ago. I don't know if he still does it. Anyway, moving on. No, nothing about OnlyFans. On the fight card this weekend, this is worth talking about. We've got Steve-O joining us in about 10-15. There's 2 finals for the Ultimate Fighter, you know. So I didn't really catch too much of the season. I've been binge watching it this week, obviously, because I'm commentating this weekend. But it's a big opportunity this weekend because, you know, 2 guys, I think it's middleweight and bantamweight, they're going to become Ultimate Fighter winners. He said, when was the last time we had Ultimate Fighter? 2017 or 18? You know, it's nice to have it back. Interesting, but it's...
From what you've seen, because I know you haven't watched it much this season, but you've watched a little bit, have they changed the format at all?
No, they haven't. No, it's the same format, which I was kind of curious if they were going to do that as well. But no, it seems, well, no, it is. It's just, you know, same old Ultimate Fighter, to be honest. But what was I going to say? It's funny, you mentioned Tate Fletcher a moment ago.
Yeah.
And Tate Fletcher was on my season of The Ultimate Fighter. And
I like
great
Tate.
guy.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a fucking great guy. And I remember when I was on there, Tate Fletcher gave me some advice. And I hope I haven't said this before. If so, I apologize. But he said, when I was on there and I got talking to Tate, he's a great guy. He's very deep. He's a deep thinker. He's a good dude. And he was saying, we were there, he's like, listen, Mike, on this show, we're all going to get given a grape. Okay, and it's what you do with that grape. And I'm sitting there thinking, what are you talking about? But now I know exactly what it means. It makes perfect sense, and he's right. He said, you know, some people might take that grape and just eat it right now, and it's juicy, and you get your little moments in time. Or other people are going to take that grape and they're going to make wine out of that grape, you know. And I was like, oh, I see what you're doing there, you know. So this weekend we get to see, will people just eat that grape and enjoy a little bit of juicy moment in time, or are they going to release their own wine? Are they going to be up in Napa Valley with the big wigs, pumping out barrel after barrel of Dom Perignon, Cabernet Sauvignon? Go ahead.
I mean, one grape's not going to make much wine.
It's a metaphor, Lewis.
Not for a Bisping. One grape's worth of wine? Sorry.
It's a metaphor, my friend. But no, you're absolutely right. But still, no, I always liked that. I always liked that little saying that he said there. And I was like, oh, that's really, really good. But yeah, the Ultimate Fighter's back the finale's back this weekend. So a lot to play for.
I'm very excited. The reason, by the way, that wasn't even on air. That was, we took a break for a second. The reason we mentioned Tate Fletcher was because I got an ice bath for my backyard.
Oh shit! That's why. Sorry, pardon me.
No, but I think it's kind of interesting in general because I've never done it before. I've never done an ice bath, and I'm genuinely fucking nervous to put my body in this thing.
No, it's easy. Well, I say easy. The hard part's just get it in. It's just like anything, you know what I mean? When you go in the ocean and it's freezing cold, I always say to Beck, just once you're in, once your head's under, you're fine. You don't want to put your head under on the ice bath. What you want to do when you're in the ice bath, when you first get in, when you first get in, it's freezing cold. Obviously, it's a bath filled with ice. It's pretty cold, but your body acclimates pretty quickly. And after the worst minutes are the first 3 minutes, and after that, believe it or not, your nerve endings, something happens to them, and you actually start to feel warm. It's actually a very warm sensation. What you don't want to do is keep your hands out. Keep your hands out because the nerve endings in your fingertips are incredibly sensitive. So if they go underwater, you feel way colder. So you just keep your hands out of the bath, and after 3-4 minutes, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. I'll send you a video though. I'll post it on my social media. Not looking forward to it. But Tate he was posting himself in the ice bath and he gave me some advice on it.
Never send me a video of you in the bath, ever.
I'm just going to send you a video of me in the shower.
Care. I don't care if it's ice bath. I don't care if it's regular baths. I just don't want to see that. I don't need that evil in my life. A couple of big fight bookings at the weekend or over the week as well. Harrington, come on and explain. But, well, if you want to come on, you can. I'm trying to give you some airtime. But we got, what's his face? Justin Gaethje and Michael Chandler finally announced. And as we know, there was a little hesitation because Chandler was saying he didn't want to get vaccinated, but apparently there is exemptions for athletes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so Michael Chandler said that his side of the contract for UFC 268 has been signed, sealed, and delivered. He is 100% in. The bout is rumored to take place at MSG. The UFC, want to point out, has not officially made the announcement that it's at MSG yet. That's just what every source is reporting. The new vaccine rules that they put into effect in New York does have a loophole clause, though, for any athlete who is from a different state coming in just to compete. They do not have to follow the vax protocol.
Yeah, that's what they do. It's like when I went to London last year to film that movie. You know, if you're there for entertainment purposes, if you could do all the paperwork and shit like that, you can get a little exemption. Well, that's good news because that's a great fight. That's a fantastic fight. And I was kind of disappointed. And by the way, if they haven't said MSG, I mean, it could be the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, but more than likely, come on, it's going to be Madison Square Garden. But Michael Chandler, Justin Gaethje, yes, Harrington, finger up at the bag.
Sorry to butt in. The question isn't whether or not it's going to be at MSG. The question is whether or not they're going to take it to Florida or Texas because they've been much more lenient with.
Yeah, I think New York. If I'm UFC, I mean, look, I'm trying to plan Skankfest right now. Shout out Skankfest South happening in November, but it's happening in November because it's in Texas. I would have no faith in massive indoor events happening in November in New York. New York is one of the toughest places right now with COVID and COVID rules and restrictions. So if I'm the UFC, just to put that much, they're putting a lot of blind faith into who knows which way the wind is going to blow.
Oh, no, sure. But they just started it with London. That's why next weekend it's a British invasion, if you will, of Las Vegas because
the Apex Center.
The Apex. No, it is though, because half the cards blooming English or from the UK, should I say, because that was supposed to be in London on September 4th, and then initially it was August 14th. And then they pushed it back to September 4th, and then just with the regulations and whatnot, and then the whole staff would all have to go to England and then have to quarantine for 10 days and all the rest. It just wasn't feasible. So yeah, you're right. You never know. Maybe it will be Florida then as well. So I don't know why. There's just something special about the cards being at Madison Square Garden in New York. Maybe it's because they pushed it because it was banned for so long there. It just always feels special there, though. Always been some good nights.
New York was, I believe, the last state, if not the second to last state to unban mixed martial arts, which is crazy. Yeah, I mean the biggest fight.
Legalize.
So what I say?
Unban.
Unban's a word.
Is it?
Maybe.
I don't think so. I bet
you it is. I'll bet you $5 it is.
Unban.
Unban. No. I bet you.
If you ask Harrington, he'll go to a dictionary that definitely has it. Okay.
Go to Webster's dictionary right now. I bet you unban is a word.
I guarantee it's not.
According to the definitions from Oxford Languages, unban.
Oh,
past
you are correct. Yeah, no, it came straight away to remove a ban on a person.
Oh, I know the definition, obviously.
Yeah, no, I'm just reading what it says. Well, there you go. One to you. Good job.
Finally.
It just didn't sound right. Unbanned. Doesn't sound right, but still, there you go. You learn something new every day. Chandler versus Gaethje. That's a tough fight for Michael Chandler. Tough fight for
Justin Gaethje. That's just a fun. What an incredible fight.
It's not an easy fight for Justin Gaethje. It's a tougher fight for Michael Chandler. It is. I mean, listen, he did great against Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker was obsessed with the wrestling. I'm not hating on Chandler, by the way. I think he's great. But Justin Gaethje, come on, man. Justin's the man. Justin's, he's got great wrestling, so he can stop the wrestling. He never uses it offensively, hardly ever. And his boxing, I mean, look at him, what he did to Tony Ferguson, fantastic matchup. Not hating on it. And God bless him, may the best man win. It's just a tough one for both men, but tougher, I think, for Chandler. But hey, that's what he's here for. He's into the UFC. If he beats him, he's right back in the conversation.
And good for Chandler because he has only taken really tough fights since he's been here. You know, it's not his UFC debut was against Dan Hooker, who was fucking incredible. You know, and you know, I think that Gaethje definitely has probably the better boxing overall. But dude, Chandler's got real power, dude. We've seen it. He's got real knockout power. And honestly, the wrestling is going to probably cancel. They're going to cancel each other out. It's going to end up being a firefight. Dude, it's so funny how far mixed martial arts has come, where you get two guys who are traditionally wrestlers, and you're like, oh yeah, dude, they're about to have a crazy striking match. It's going to be incredible.
Well, that's what they always say. Anytime it's two grapplers, they nullify one another, and generally that is what you see. Not always. It sounds a little stereotypical to say that, but generally that is what you see. Because, you know, if one guy's hard to take down, the other... It's just so much effort as well. And then when you realize as a wrestler and you get into MMA, you realize that swinging one of these, swinging a fist, is a damn sight easier than getting hold of someone and then struggling away with underhooks and all that shit for about half an hour, when you can just, as I always say, the greatest takedown in the game. Left hook, baby, and that's my right. But still,
left
whatever.
Hook, Larry. The greatest takedown in the game.
No,
a kick.
My hand's underneath the fucking the microphone stand, so I can't hold it up unless shit wants to go flying everywhere. So there you go. 11:41 on the clock. 4 minutes and still Steve-O comes. Yeah, I love Jackass. Back in the day, loved it. I was a little late to the party, but Lucas loves it. He loves anything slapstick like that. But there's a new Jackass movie coming out as well. In fact, Harrington, you put it in the notes. Can we play the trailer of that real quick to get a little prime before Steve-O comes on, or is that a no for YouTube?
I think on YouTube we might run into a problem. I'll do plugs real quick. Guys, you love the show. Please do this right now. Go to our YouTube, subscribe, leave us a little comment, leave us a thumbs up. That's always great. And hit the notification button. That definitely will let you get a notification every time we have a brand new show dropping. We have new shows Monday and Thursday evenings, 12 Eastern. They come out, the new shows. Also, go to iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating, positive review, Google Play, Stitcher, really anywhere you can get a podcast, you can get the Believe You Me podcast. And if you guys want the entire on-demand library, all of the shows that we've ever done, all in one place, ad-free and uncensored, you can go subscribe to gasdigitalnetwork.com. You get the premium access to everything all in one place. You should use the promo code BYM. You get a 7-day free trial, and you save $1.50 a month. I'm going to be down in Austin. I'll be down in Austin at the Creek in the Cave, September 30th through October 2nd. Grab tickets at lewisofskanks.com. A couple other gigs coming up as well. And obviously an evening with Michael Bisping, Tales from the Octagon, myticket.co.uk. Tickets available now.
Kevin Lee is back in action this weekend as well, and it feels like it's been a bloody lifetime. He's taking on Daniel Rodriguez. Kevin Lee, when was the last time Kevin Lee fought? My word. Kevin Lee, yes, Harrington?
It was the Brazil card, right?
Charles Oliveira, right?
Yeah, so it's a 532-day layoff, the longest in his career.
Wow.
Yeah, and Charles Oliveira dominated that fight, actually. I think it was a rear naked choke finish as well. But Kevin Lee's really, really good. Really good. He's just like one of these guys that hasn't really fulfilled his potential. But now he's come up to 170, new weight class, looking to reinvent himself. But he's got a tough fight against Daniel Rodriguez, D-Rod. Rodriguez, you know, he's a real fighter, man. He's a tough guy. Simple as that. Do you know what I mean? He's a great Thai boxer, kickboxer, whatever you want to call it. But the guy's a fighter. Do you know what I mean? We were talking to him yesterday. You know, he was always getting in fights, spent a lot of time in prison. Yeah, wanted to join the army, but couldn't join the army because,
what's his name? Michael Bisping?
He had multiple felonies on there and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, but he's done a good job of staying on the straight and narrow. You know what I mean? Turning his life around. You know, and he wants to do better in the world, but he's putting, you know, his skills to use, and he's doing fucking great. Daniel Rodriguez is killing it in the UFC right now, and he's hot property. But it's a tough fight against Kevin Lee. Very, very good fight. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, 532 days off. You know, that's a very, very long time. What was your longest layoff ever?
Oh God, nothing like. We're not saying that. 532 days. What's that? Like almost a year and a half. Yeah, roughly a year and a half. Longest layoff. Oh, it would be the eye. The eye when that happened. So hold on. Happened early 2013. I think I got back in action 2014. Something like that. Yeah.
Who did you come back against? Do you remember?
Say again?
Do you remember who you came back against?
Yeah, Tim Kennedy, which was a shitty fight. I rushed back to that one far too quick, but still,
did you feel like you had ring rust? Was that something? Was that?
Sorry, that's what you're asking. Fucking there was a lot. There was fucking rust galore. There was eye rust. Do you know what I mean? Because it took so long to bloody acclimatize to that, to fighting with one eye and having no depth perception or whatever. So yeah, ring rust. You could call it ring rust or just general fucked upness. Do you know what I mean? Fighting with one eye is incredibly difficult. So there was definitely
there was an adjust. Like, I mean, obviously there was an adjustment, but from sparring and training camp to actually going into the fight, was there like a noticeable difference when you were in there the first time fighting with one eye?
Just doing anything with one eye. I mean, if you cover up one eye right now, it won't make any difference because your brain's an incredible thing, so it already knows. Do you know what I mean? If you cover up one eye, and yeah, I just said it's not going to make any difference, Lewis. You can take your hand down.
I'm just trying to feel what it's like to be Michael Bisping for a moment. All right, let me live like you.
But it doesn't work like that.
So what do you see?
Because you just had two eyes a second ago. What you're going to do is like have a proper patch on or something and then go to sleep. And then when you wake up from that, and then you'll see with truly no depth perception.
All right, Mike, let's take a moment and thank RockAuto.com for supporting today's show. RockAuto.com is an online store with every auto part at the absolute best prices. This is your one-stop shop for everything auto parts. I'm not a car guy. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know the difference between a muffler and an engine. I couldn't tell you the difference, but RockAuto.com has you covered. When you go into an auto body shop, you got a guy behind the counter trying to make a commission. He's trying to mark up everything. You don't know what he's going to sell you. I don't trust anybody. You shouldn't either. And that's why you got to visit rockauto.com.
Yeah, listen, I'm not much better than you, Lewis, to be honest, when it comes to cars. I know a couple of little things over the years, but you know, can I fix a car if it breaks down? Definitely not. I'm calling AAA, but no more talking to the counter guys who need to order your parts. You aren't really sure what they're looking for. Never have quite what you need. And then after all the hassle, they still charge you store markups. At Rock Auto, you can easily find everything you need. And whether you're a mechanic, an auto shop, or working on your own car, everyone has access to the same incredible pricing. So if you're a car guy, stock up right now at rockauto.com. Check out all the parts available for your car. You're going to have a lot of fun looking at all this stuff, and you're going to be blown away by the prices. So once more, go to rockauto.com. No code needed, as everything is already that cheap and marked down to very, very satisfactory prices. And when you order, please make sure to tell rockauto.com that you heard about them right here on the Believe You Me podcast. rockauto.com. All right, let's get back into it. Whether you got one eye, whether you got two eyes, three eyes, or four eyes, you can't help but notice that we are joined by the one, the only, one of the biggest fans of the UFC and mixed martial arts on the planet. But of course, I'm talking about the great Steve-O. What's going on, Steve?
Yeah, dude, long overdue, man. It's great to join you guys. Thank you.
No, it is. You're on with myself and Luis J. Gomez. Welcome to the show. We appreciate you taking the time out, man. We've been excited to have you.
Well, thanks. I've been excited to do it. Like I told you on our text, I'm a big fan of both of you guys.
Wow.
It's rad.
Bisping, you didn't tell me that, you piece of shit. You didn't tell me Steve-O was a fan of mine.
He's lying.
I am.
Okay.
Nah.
He's lying. He has no idea who you are. He texted me early. He's like, "Who the fuck are you? Who's that bold asshole that thinks he's a fighter? What's his name?" I'm like, "It's Luis J. Gomez." Make sure you say the J.
I'm a big fan, and I know that you hail from the New York comedy scene. When all of this cancel culture stuff was going on, I felt that it seemed very valid. All the criticism coming from New York, that there was criticism that the LA comedy scene, when somebody got in trouble, everybody else just dropped him like a bad habit. And
yeah, dude.
And I think that you were pretty vocal in that regard. And I think that I thought, man, LA comics really maybe do kind of suck.
Dude, some of the best comics in the world are from LA, but I think there's I think people in LA are just in general, and you guys both live there, so you could tell me. I think you live in LA, right, Steve-O?
I do. At the moment, I'm in sunny Florida, and it's convenient for me to identify as an LA comic when it's convenient, and maybe look in from the outside when it's not. But
I think that, and you guys already have a tremendous amount of success, but I think in Los Angeles specifically, a lot of people are looking for that success. They're looking for that opportunity. So people seem to be a little more guarded and safe. Whereas I think in New York, everyone's just looking to get good at whatever it is, whether it's acting, music, comedy, whatever it is. So it's just a little bit of a different mindset. So, but I do appreciate that. And I am a massive fan of yours. Obviously watched all of the Jackass movies, Jackass television show, the other movies you guys have been involved in. I mean, we came from this generation of, like, this is my generation. You guys fucking just reinvented just what comedy was. I mean, there was falling down a ladder or falling downstairs was always funny. And then you guys said, okay, let's put that on crack and multiply that times 10.
Well, thank you. Also, I wouldn't say that the examples I can remember from that dark, tragic period of time. It wasn't anybody worrying about coming up. It was about people looking to preserve what they had amassed, and not jeopardizing what they had built. And we can gladly move on from there. But I just wanted to qualify as a genuine fan of yours. And moving over to my good bro Mike Bisping. Dude, I gotta say, I'm such a fan of you as a commentator in the NFC or the UFC. I'm such a fan of all UFC commentators, man. You guys do such a great job, and the way that the way that you do it, that you wear it like such a loose garment. You're able to just not take it too seriously, but at the same time take it so seriously. Just all the jabs and the jokes and all it just all really works very well, and I love your sensibility for knowing when to make jokes, to rib your fellow commentators, and as well to break it down and be insightful and objective and critical and a fan at the same time. It's all really awesome, man.
Well, I truly appreciate the kind words, Steve. I really do, because it is a balancing act, because you want to be entertaining and have a little bit of banter along the way, but also you got two guys trying to kill each other in the octagon. You don't want to take away from that and the seriousness of the occasion. But still, as I say, thank you very, very much. Now, as much as I would love for us all to sit here and continue to kiss each other's asses.
Just stroke each other. Let me
three-way dick-sucking competition.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to steer off it. I'm like, we're going to lose subscribers by the minute. They're like, whoa.
No, you're not. That's nonsense. You're not going to lose any subscribers at all.
I know.
I think people appreciate it, and I've just one last stroke of your shaft.
Please, no. Shaft it, baby. Shaft it. Let's go.
Cut the ball.
Hold on, guys. I'm going to get it out for the mother shot.
Yeah, I just have one more thing. This was really, really a big deal. I'm pointing to Michael when you were on my podcast, and I mentioned your ability to remove your eye, which I'd seen on TMZ, and you went ahead and took it out on my podcast. This was a big moment. There was something that we isolated as a clip in its own right, and I feel, if I remember correctly, there were people were like, wow, like he would never do that he wouldn't do that for this or for that. He did it for Steve-O, and it was all just a gigantic honor. I know that you did it for the UFC watch party show that we were both on.
Yeah, but hold on, that's because you asked me to do it on the watch party. It's the power of Steve-O.
But I don't even think that they included it, did they?
Oh, I have no idea. Maybe not. But anyway.
But in any case, it was an honor to have you on the show. It was an honor that you did that for me, and now I can get your dicks out of my mouth.
Well, perfect. Well, I'm going to stick you right back in just a second. What I want to ask you, Steve,
I just want to impress Steve-O. Hold on, Steve-O, check it out. Look.
I don't know if I can see that.
Oh, you got me left out.
My fingers off.
I'm in blinding sun. I can barely make you guys out.
As I was gonna say, so like you mentioned my eye, right? A lot of people mention that all the time. And I'm sure you'll see the segue right now. I'm sure people ask you all the time about Jackass, right? And because that's what I want to talk to you about. I mean, of course, it's such an iconic show. Everybody loves it. It's absolutely hilarious. You've got the new movie getting released soon, I think. And I'm sure you've told the story many times, but I've never heard it. But how did this all come about? How did you guys, how was Jackass, the idea, formed and become a show? I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, dude, I love running through the Cliff Notes version of this, man. And it's a question of where to begin the Cliff Notes version. The ecosystem from which this single cell organism evolved was the skateboarding industry. And going back to the 1980s, when I began skateboarding, when in the 1980s, skateboarding was an industry which was 100% reliant on the approval of mothers. And it'd be, because kids like, Mom, buy me a skateboard.
My mom would never let me have one.
Right.
Yeah, no way.
And the media that drove the skateboarding industry was very much skateboard videos and magazines, and they all very carefully catered to the approval of mothers. You had the section where people fell off, and they were very careful not to show anything too violent, make it look cute. And then one day a guy came along named Steve Rocco, and he said, I'm sick of kissing mom's ass, and I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna celebrate what's gnarly about skateboarding, the fact that we're criminals doing it. Everywhere we go, we're committing a crime. Everything that we utilize, we're vandalizing it. We're hurting ourselves. We're gnarly. We're this and we're that. And he set out to make this the first skateboard video, which really celebrated the gnarliness of skateboarding. And what's important about that is that the person who edited and produced that video was Spike Jonze. And up to that point, Spike Jonze was really simply a photographer in the world of skateboarding, and he got this job of producing that skateboard video by default because there was nobody else in the position to do that. Of course, in short order, Spike Jonze went from that very first video project on to become an Academy Award, winner of movie directors, and it's also important because the guy who made that first video, Steve Rocco, went on to start a skateboarding magazine. And he only started the skateboarding magazine because his ads that he was running in the existing magazine were so filthy that they kept getting rejected. And he said, you know what, screw you guys for rejecting my ads. I'm going to start my own skateboard magazine. This magazine was called Big Brother, and its only purpose was to serve as a forum for filth that would never be allowed in the other skateboard magazines. And that skateboard magazine was called Big Brother. It got so much controversial news, and that Larry Flint bought it out. At that point, Larry Flint had like some 27 pornography magazines and one skateboard magazine aimed at little kids. Huh. The editor-in-chief of that Big Brother, once Steve Rocco sold it to Larry Flint, was Jeff Tremaine, who of course is the director of Jackass. They made these videos, which Big Brother skateboarding videos were absolutely classic, cult following. And it was Jeff Tremaine who reached out to Spike Jonze, and he said, Spike, our Big Brother videos are so popular, but nobody cares about the skateboarding. And I think if we subtract the skateboarding from these videos, what's left over could be a crazy good TV show. And they just did that. They subtracted the skateboarding from the Big Brother skateboard videos, and what was left over was Johnny Knoxville and Steve-O and Wee Man. And they put Spike Jonze's name on it. And
how did CKY fit into the mix? Did they do the music soundtrack for it?
CKY was it was really a merger of two camps. Bam was doing his CKY videos, which were very much in the same spirit, and it's the same attitude and kind of genre of the Big Brother videos. And Jeff Tremaine reached out to Bam Margera and said, hey, we'd like to basically gobble up CKY and,
and collaborate.
Yeah, like so Big Brother and the CKY merged to subtract the skateboarding and took on the name Jackass.
Cool.
So at what point though did the conversation happen? Because you guys have done some crazy shit. You in particular, Steve. Do you know what I mean? You have done some wildly dangerous and just very ballsy things. At what point did the conversation happen? Said, you know what we're going to do is we're going to start hurting ourselves. I mean, I'm trying to think of some examples, but what are some of the? I mean, when did that conversation happen? How was that conversation? And what are some of the craziest shit in your opinion that you've done on that show?
Well, I mean, for me, everything that drives me in every initiative, no matter what it is being an attention whore. That's just the engine that drives all things Steve. But whether it's stand-up comedy, whether it's podcasting, whether it's shoving things up my butt, it's all just it's just a gravely overdeveloped need for attention. And I was a skateboarder as a kid. You know, like I said, I started skateboarding in the 1980s. That led me to the video camera, which was really crucial because I could videotape my skateboarding and edit out the failures and present for attention just what I wanted people to see.
Welcome to social media today.
Right, exactly. And that was great. I fell in love with the video camera, but I just wasn't that good at skateboarding to ever really hope to have a professional career at it. So I kind of let go of the skateboard and clutched more dearly to the video camera, and I made it my business to provide comic relief in skateboarding videos, and that's how I landed my spot in the Big Brother videos, was because I was doing everything but skateboarding. Mostly I was setting myself on fire, getting terribly badly burned. My first ever in Big Brother magazine involved me burning the skin off of half my face. So the hurting myself was in place long before Jackass. I drank bong water. I jumped off rooftops. I did everything except ride a skateboard, and my dream was to be in skateboard videos. And then the first skateboard videos that I really found home in, like, almost instantly turned into an MTV show. So it was super expeditious. It all happened very quickly. And I never even had the aspirations of being anything but fodder for skateboarding videos, and then it turned into this crazy career, which really landed in my lap. And along the way, if I were to have a stock answer for what's the craziest things I did, my top 3 go-to answers have always been injecting 5 ounces of vodka into my veins through an IV. And
I saw that.
Jumping out of an airplane with no parachute into the ocean, albeit candidly.
Whoa, hold on. From what height?
From like 40 feet. It was one of these like Waterworld aircrafts with like it was the gnarliest slam I ever fucking took, man. It was so harsh. Thank God I was wearing a life vest. And then finally, when my late bro Ryan Dunn choked me out, and so talking to UFC, personalities, you guys understand, but fully choked out 6 times in one afternoon.
Oh shit!
And each time it took me longer and longer to wake up, and to keep exciting, each time he more and more threw me onto my head. That one was really pretty bad. But yeah, and since then there's been a lot of crazy stuff. But like most recently, I'm on this tour right now. It's called the Bucket List Tour, and dude, I wanted to have a general anesthesia administered through an IV while I was hauling ass on a bicycle, and we arranged.
Oh my god! How the fuck do you come up with these things? That's some out of the box thinking.
I know it is. It started out as I wanted to take on poachers by promoting tranquilizer darts. My philosophy being, why do they have to kill these animals to get their douchebag photo? If they could just shoot it with tranquilizer darts and then let it wake up, maybe the world would be a happier place.
That's a good point.
And that got me thinking about tranquilizer darts. And then we found a way to make that happen, and it was going to be a foot race with one of my Jackass buddies, where you on your mark, get set, go, They shoot tranquilizer darts into our butt cheeks, at which point we sprint for distance. And that was all ready to go. But the problem was that the drug which would be in the darts was ketamine, and I'm a recovering drug addict who loves ketamine.
Hell yeah.
So that was when we switched it to the general anesthesia bit. And we found the general anesthesia drugs. We found the medical professional to do this recklessly jeopardizing their career. But general anesthesia drugs made people stop breathing. So they wanted to and they wanted to give it to me incrementally, and they just never managed to knock me out. And I rode the bicycle around like an asshole on drugs. And then I met a high-level doctor who offered to put a 4-inch needle in my spine and inject this drug into my spinal cavity, which rendered me paralyzed from the waist down, and I did that while sprinting. So these are the types of activities which are featured in my new multimedia live comedy tour, which is the Bucket List.
Oh, nice. And when and where can people see that?
Well, I'm in Fort Lauderdale tomorrow night, specifically Dania Beach. I mean, I've got like almost 40 cities that I'm going to between now and February. And it's all outlined at stevo.com. And, it's an X-rated ass show, man. Like, there's a point where, like, I go skydiving, but I never cared about skydiving because everybody does it. So, like, honestly, it was almost 20 years ago. I said, if I ever go skydiving, because the first time you do it, you have to have a dude strapped onto your back. I said, I'm gonna be butt ass naked with a dude strapped to my back, and I'm gonna be furiously jacking off, and I'm gonna time it so that right when I blow my load, I'm gonna be falling out of an airplane, coming all over the place. And that was the most challenging from start to finish.
Wait, you did this?
Yeah, that's
Hold on. But let me ask you, did you manage to climax? Because one would assume that you were a little distracted. Wow, that's impressive.
It was the most logistically difficult stunt that I think I've ever done.
And how did your skydive professional feel about this?
Dude, I mean, it's also the most layered and hilarious stand-up comedy bit. And like every bit in the show, it culminates in a screening of the actual stunt itself, which is what makes the tour so much fun.
Dude,
like,
you look so proud.
I'm so proud of it.
You look so proud. Like the look of your face, like you,
so
like
proud.
It's your child, like it's your son, like this is my baby.
Like, single greatest success of my career is how I describe it in the show.
I gotta ask you, apparently on the upcoming movie, Francis Ngannou punches one of you guys.
Yeah.
Was it you in the balls? Number one, was it you? And just tell us about that whole experience.
It was not me. I don't feel comfortable being on the record as somebody who divulged a great deal of information about this.
Okay, no, I get that.
Francis Ngannou did reveal just about the whole thing. So, I mean, it's one Google search away. I just don't want to.
So what we're saying is Francis fucking ruined the whole thing. This was meant to be like a surprise, and he went out there and unfortunately...
No. I mean, here's what I will say, was that when I found out, I showed up to the set. Like, every shooting day, I showed up blissfully ignorant, for the most part, as to what would be the activities for the day. And the day of the Francis Ngannou shoot, I showed up, and as soon as I found out that Francis Ngannou was there, I begged to be the recipient of said activity. And they denied my request, as much as I desperately pleaded and begged them to let me be the one, and I wasn't able to. But then by the time that bit, it's a very star-studded bit, I'll say that. It's a very involved and star-studded bit, which as each subsequent star appeared to perform, I was so glad that my request to be the recipient had been denied. Like, oh my God, it was awful. But it was fucking dark, and
yes,
and it's among the best shit that we've ever done. It's among the best shit that we've ever done. I'm so glad there wasn't.
I can't wait to see it.
I read about this a while. I read an interview with one of the Jackass guys. Could have been you, could have been somebody else. And I've never been able to find this.
Welcome. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Welcome. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
And that's the situation. So for Tyron, he takes his fight career very, very seriously. So he's going to push himself in training camp. But I don't know. I want Tyron to win, and I'll pick Tyron. I will, but I honestly think I'm wrong in that pick. I'm picking him publicly. I'm picking him because I'm showing support for my UFC brother. But Jake is taller and he's longer and he's younger, and he hasn't had he hasn't been beaten up. Tyron hasn't won a round in 16 consecutive rounds. Do you know what I mean? That's a lot of mental baggage going in there, you know.
But against the caliber of opponent that he was going in against, I mean, and I guess the jury's still out, but is Jake Paul elite level, you know, top 5 ranked? No, not at all. So I guess we'll have to see. But I don't know. I think that I can't.
How many rounds is this over?
8 rounds. 8 3-minute rounds.
Well, we saw what happened to Logan. Logan fucking was blown out of his ass after 3 rounds. So that would be good for Tyron to take it to the longer rounds, because it's easy to work on your skills, and I say easy, but it's easier to work on your skills and to work on your technique and all the rest of it. The hard part is working on that extreme conditioning that when you get to rounds 5, 6, and 7, or even 8, to still be able to go, still be able to fight, still be able to perform at a high level. And as I say, you can get out of bed and work on technique, and it doesn't really push you. If you, as I think it was Marvin Hagler or Evander Holyfield, whoever the fuck it was that said it, getting out of bed and running when you're sleeping in silk sheets is a lot harder than what it is if you haven't got the silk.
Yeah, like so Big Brother and the CKY merged to subtract this.
Men, listen up. When it comes to keeping your privates in tip-top shape, use Manscaped's Lawnmower 4.0.
Skateboarding and
Welcome.
4-inch needle in my spine and inject this drug into my spinal cavity, which rendered me paralyzed from the waist down. And I did that while sprinting. So these are the types of activities which are featured in my new multimedia live comedy tour, which is the Bucket List.
Oh, nice. And when and where can people see that?
Well, I'm in Fort Lauderdale tomorrow night, specifically Dania Beach. I mean, I've got almost 40 cities that I'm going to between now and February. And it's all outlined at stevo.com. And it's an X-rated ass show, man. Like there's a point where I go skydiving, but I never cared about skydiving because everybody does it. So honestly, it was almost 20 years ago. I said, if I ever go skydiving, because the first time you do it, I was so glad that my request to be the recipient had been denied. Oh my God, it was awful. But it was fucking dark, and
yes.
And it's among the best shit that we've ever done. It's among the best shit that we've ever done. So I'm so glad there wasn't.
I can't wait to see it.
I read about this a while. I read an interview with one of the Jackass guys. Could have been you, could have been somebody else. And I've never been able to find this. And I told my friend Big J Ogerson about it. I know you know Big J.
I love Big J.
No, he's the man. He's the man. And dude, it's one of the funniest things I ever read about. I haven't even been able to find the interview again, so I want to ask you about it. It was a bit that you guys supposedly did, where it was something like "I won't leave," where you guys were in a bar drinking.
Oh yeah, okay. That's not a Jackass bit. That's just what happened at every rap party. Whenever we finished the television series. I mean, even when we finish each episode of each season of the television series, always finish a movie. Always, there's a rap party for and there's something about that rap party, because by definition, every movie, every season, it was always the last. There was never it was always understood that there would never be another incarnation of Jackass. And despite the fact that there always was, that wasn't the belief. So at that rap party, that was kind of like the end. It was always the end. It was always the end, and it was always very emotional. And at the end of that rap party, generally it was at a bar. And when they said last call, closing time, like it wasn't just leaving the bar that night. What it was it felt like leaving Jackass behind, and we weren't, we didn't want to do that, So it was like this sort of symbolic, like trying to hang on to Jackass, where we told those bouncers we're not fucking leaving. Like you're gonna need a fucking army to get us out of here. And I mean, it just got comical, like we were never physically combative, because that wasn't the spirit of Jackass, and that wouldn't have ever been fun. But boy, were we physical about staying in the bar. We would link up. We would like they wouldn't just have to drag one of us out, because we would be linked up together. So we would, it was. And we were serious about it too. Like it was a game we played called I'm Not Leaving.
It's so funny.
I don't remember that the game was ever played anywhere outside of a rap party for Jaguar. No, that's not true. I can remember a time in Chicago. I mean,
just a Tuesday.
Yeah. But yeah, that was what it was. And it was very heartfelt. It was all of our, all of our physical prowess that we could possibly fight off the removal by those bouncers. And
awesome.
And everything that we had went into it, and it really meant a lot. And there's a classic picture. There's a classic picture of Preston Lacey, who's of course the biggest of the bunch, and like a photo which was shot during a game of I'm Not Leaving, and it's the most striking. It's just fucking awesome.
Obviously, I started seeing you around the UFC events. I see you at the Apex. I see you at at the arenas and things like that. You're a big UFC fan. So we're going to test your knowledge on some of the upcoming fights shortly. See, what your picks are and all the rest of it. In fact, fuck it, we'll start with that. But when did your love for the UFC start? When did you start becoming a fan?
I came in on the Ronda Rousey. I would call it a hype train, but it was just a cultural phenomenon. Like I came in, all the attention that Ronda Rousey brought to the sport, and then I became like super interested in what was going on with her fights, and I started watching about that point. So I'm late to the game. The first time I ever saw UFC was like back in the '90s, and it was before they had like separate rounds. It was just 25 minutes of what appeared to be like, pretty uneventful grappling from what I saw, and I couldn't quite understand it. I thought Ultimate Fighting is supposed to be so violent, but I'm just watching these guys kind of hold on to each other. So I was late. It was and then all of a sudden, the more I checked it out, like sort of modern MMA, I think it's a lot more exciting. And
absolutely. Because if you look at the old UFC. Sorry, pardon me. Yeah, if you look at the old UFC, it always used to be 2 men enter, 1 man leaves, and all the rest of it. And as you say, to your point, I think a lot of people would go there expecting these insane bloodbaths or whatever. And you got 2 guys, and back then the athletic ability of some of the fighters certainly wasn't anywhere near what it is now. Of course, there were some legendary fights and legendary fighters, of course, but there was also a lot of shit. Do you know what I mean? And you see 2 fucking guys that didn't really know what they were doing because the sport was still being developed. Of course, now it's a tremendous sport. I am literally obsessed with it. I just love everything about it. So I'm going to pick your brains on some of these fights. This is an easy one for you because this weekend, and we're going to get to the real fight after this one, but this weekend...
This weekend is it Chikadze and
Barboza? But that's the real fight.
Okay.
That's the real fight. We'll get to that one in a minute. The other one that's happening on Sunday night, the spectacle that fucking everyone's talking about, Jake Paul and Tyron Woodley. Me and Lewis spent a bit of time talking about that at the top of the show, but what do you make of that, Steve? And how do you see it going?
I will admit this, that I had an offer from it's a comedy club that I'm performing in this weekend. And they said, we're tracking to completely sell out. And the comedy club wants to offer you
you want
the
something?
opportunity to add a show on Sunday night. And that would involve changing our airplane tickets and this and that, But I said to my tour manager, I said, the Jake Paul Tyron Woodley fight is actually a factor in me not wanting to be doing a show that night. I'll probably be on an airplane, maybe not, but yeah, I have felt strongly about both Paul brothers, and just like I'll find out after the fight what happened. I was more interested in watching a YouTube video of somebody describing what happened after the fact than actually seeing it transpire when it happened. And I felt pretty good about that approach to the Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather, certainly the Ben Askren and Jake Paul. But I have to say that finally got my interest. It really finally got my interest, and I attribute that to two things. That of course, Ben Askren, as you said, Michael, he can't fight. You take away the grappling from Ben Askren, and you've got a guy who punches like a girl. And I love Ben Askren. He's just not a striker. So now you've got Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley is a striker. Albeit a striker who's pushing 40 years old. He's a striker with, I heard you say, that it's a physical sport, but it's a mind that drives everything. And from a confidence standpoint, confidence is absolutely the most important ingredient in fighting. And I just don't see that Tyron Woodley has confidence. And point that you made as well, he's saying all the right things in his interviews, but he's done that. We've watched him do that through his last 4 professional losses. Yep. With that said, I think that Jake Paul has masterfully picked every opponent to just increase the level of competition and keep the game alive. And I think now he's increased the level of competition to a point where he legitimately has my interest. And I'm right there with Dana White when he just points out like what a fucking disaster this Triller company is. Like, I'm so glad that I've never given a red cent to Triller. And the fact that
thank you.
I'm so fucking glad that I can say that. And the fact that now it's under the corporate banner of Showtime. There's just something that's just legitimate about that. It's a legitimate opponent. It's legitimately on Showtime, and I'm very ready, willing, and able to pay Showtime for that pay-per-view. I'm interested. So what do I think is going to happen? I mean, we got the reach advantage goes to Jake Paul, the height. I don't know if they're weighing in the same weight, but I'm just taking these words right out of Michael's mouth. I mean, you got a guy, he's undefeated, he's younger, he's hungry, he's rich, he's just all of this ego driving him, and Tyron's coming off a bunch of losses, and he's just, I mean, who was it the last fight? Was it Vincent St. Luque? When Woodley went in there, he came out really hot. We thought, wow, this is great. We got to see Tyron Woodley come back and really throwing fire. And that was one where when Woodley got knocked out, I thought, fuck, man, like, why did it have to go down like that? Because now I actually want to see him fight again. Whereas his 3 previous fights, I was just like, all right, dude, 3 strikes, you're out, Woodley. I don't even want to see you anymore. And then that 4th loss, I actually want to see him fight again. So it's like Michael said, the question is which Tyron Woodley shows up.
Yep.
That was the best analysis I've heard of the fight yet. By Steve-O. Nobody was expecting that.
If you listen to what Steve said, he quoted me, so fuck off.
I took it off. I attributed every piece of information to the count.
I'm joking.
I was expecting Steve-O to be like, oh man, it's gonna be a good fight. And that was that. He came out with fucking beat by beat analysis. That was incredible.
No,
So
it was
your
very, very
your
good.
pick is officially Jake Paul for this fight.
Yeah, it's Jake Paul. You know, it's Jake Paul. He's demonstrated that he has the power. I mean, of course, Tyron Woodley has the power as well. But I mean, shit, I believe it a lot in you know, what we call the glass jaw. You know, I think that the fact that Jake Paul is so young, that he's never been knocked out, like you know, his movement's there. I think that I think that he can absorb the best punches that Woodley has for long enough to land his own and get it done.
Yeah. You know, to be honest, and last point on this, and we'll talk about some other fights, we don't actually know yet if Jake can take a good shot. You know what I mean? Because his chin hasn't been tested. So that is an unknown coming into this, you know. So far, he's been so dominant. He's just flatlined them. You know, Askren was never really a threat anyway. You know, the thing is about Tyron, he has got knockout power and he has got speed and he is very explosive. So that is a big unknown coming into this one.
It's a big unknown, but as variables go, you know, his age is on his side on that. You know, we've got to give him the benefit of the doubt, and the fact that his chin hasn't been tested is something else we've got to give his chin the benefit of the doubt for, because it hasn't been depleted. It hasn't been compromised.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There is an expiry date, there is a sell-by date, and the more you fucking punch that or touch that button, the weaker it gets. You know, and he hasn't necessarily had it touched yet. So, do you have a favorite fighter, Steve? Is there someone that you know? I mean, favorite fighter sounds like a little bit of a teenage expression, but is there someone that you're like, fuck, I gotta catch this fight?
I mean, dude, I catch every fight, like no matter what. And the travesty of it all is that when I'm on tour, I'm like invariably doing shows when the fights are on, and I'll get back to the hotel room at like often like 1 or 2 in the morning, and then I'll proceed to watch every fight, which takes me till like 5 or 6 a.m. I'm that much of a degenerate. So a favorite fighter, like I've been asked this question a lot, and I always just think, fuck,